Fight on!
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Top Tier Arcade. We're back in the apartment, and again, my name is Steve. I'm going to be taking you through part 3 of the Miss Pac-Man Arcade machine. This is going to be the game review itself. So we're going to be reviewing actually Miss Pac-Man, some history about it, some facts that you may or may not know, and that I did want to share with you. So if there's anything that I'm missing, that you know about the game that I missed, please comment, please let me know. I'm more than happy to learn more about the game. Alright, so let's get to it. Let's do this. Oh, now a couple things. So on the last video we did the cabinet. Again, we did the full cabinet review. There's one thing that I actually forgot to show you guys that I found out, well, that I knew, but I found out when I was playing it after I did the video, that we still had it. So on this game, right here, right under the actual lock and key, is the tilt switch. So, and I actually tested it, and it was funny, it did work. Where again, if these two components touch, that it actually tilts the game and it turns it off. So if you actually wanted to see it, if I was to press it, that's what happens. It makes it all jumbled and it just resets the game and you lose all your credits. So the tilt switch works. I wanted to just finish that up by saying that tilt switch is working and it's included in this game working. Now, oh, another thing I wanted to let you guys know. More kind of a shout out as more of a thank you as well. When I first got the game, and you've heard how I picked it up and the actual game, the cabinet, when I was moving it around, getting to the back of it, learning kind of about the game, well, I figured out in the top right hand corner, when I was moving the game up in here, it started to discolor, and I'm like, oh my god, what happened? And then I'm like, uh-oh, was this a bad decision? Again, my wife was yelling at me, I was getting all mad. And it turned out that I never knew, but again, the electrons were all moved around, which I found out, thank God, online from, this is the Arcade Repair Tips YouTube channel. They are part of my subscriptions if you want to check him out. His name is Tim Peterson. Now, Tim actually has a lot of good repair videos that I did learn about, and thank God, because when I was moving again the game, my wife's like, why does it look like that? Again, in the top right, it was discolored. Turned out that I needed a degaussing coil, which was what I called, oh my God, I called probably, and I shit you not, 15 TV repair guys, big companies, small companies, mom and pops and all that, and no one had a degaussing coil. No one even knew what it was, which worried me, because I'm like, how do they not know when this is their industry? Well, again, when in the early 2000s, when LCDs and DLPs and LEDs and whatnot and plasmas took a hold of the industry, CRTs now are very, very rare to find. So they said, we've never had to work on them. And getting the degaussing coil was a pain in the ass. I actually found one guy, he was an Indian guy, and he was in... He was a little further away from Toronto, around half an hour. He had one. It was a little beat up. It worked. And he hit me with $80 for it. As much as I said, look, it's used and you don't use it. He knew I wanted it because apparently all these guys talk and they're all related or some nonsense like that. And they go, oh, I know you've been calling. I'm like, ugh. I'm like, what am I going to do? So kind of took it in the ass in that sense. And I just said, look, here's the $80. At least it's the bigger one. It's part of my kind of arcade growing toolkit. Now, it's in my parents' garage where I have my Mortal Kombat 2 and my Street Fighter 1 arcade cabinet with Street Fighter 3 Third Strike in it as we speak. But I do have the coil. I'll maybe show you as the months and years progress. But I mean, you guys know what a coil looks like. So again, just a shout out to Arcade Repair Tips, Tim Peterson, who's a great host on the channel that did help me. And he's helped me some other ways, but this was the big help. I degaussed it. It worked, and now I understand, how to move the games, and I tell people, don't necessarily get an arcade, technician, save some money, to pursue your hobby and to buy more games instead of just fixing them. So that was definitely one for the book. So let's get on looking at the game. So here's what I've actually I've noticed. You guys noticed that we all know that when Miss Pac-Man or Pac-Man, whoever, she eats the ghosts. Now we know they're ghosts. They look like ghosts. I'm wondering, is it maybe that they actually made the bezel before they finished the game? In a sense that it says monster point value. I've always wondered why it never said ghosts. And even in the manual it says ghosts. It said eat the ghost and their value. It always says ghosts. I'm always wondering why it would say monster. Why does it say monster? I mean, not to say monsters are not ghosts, but I don't know. It was always weird to me. I'm like, why does it just say ghosts? Why would they say monsters? Maybe they're the good ones and she's the bad one. Anyways, but that's a whole different philosophy. Either way, so that's pretty much, that's one little fact about it that I was always wondering. Maybe you guys have a better understanding of why it was monsters, but I thought maybe that, they were going to call them monsters and then they ended up calling them ghosts, because in the manual, again, as we saw in my part 2 cabinet video where I have the manual, it says ghosts. I actually read it and it says ghosts in there. So either way, that was one little thing one little tidbit I wanted to share with you guys. Now let's get about the history of the game. So we all know pretty much the popularity of Pac-Man and how that all came to be. Now Miss Pac-Man, of course, came out in it's 1980. Apparently it came out in January in 82, but it's around 80-81 as far as how it started. So the cool thing about this game, and I was telling my wife this as well, this is the first game that actually it was the first female protagonist that was the lead role in a video game, and I always thought that was kind of cool. I mean, it was back in the 80s. 80s kind of changed the way people thought. I mean, I was born in 1980. I've been, recently seeing documentaries about the 80s and how it kind of just shaped the world it is today with kind of liberation and all that. But so it was kind of cool seeing that she was, or Miss Pac-Man is, the first female protagonist of the game. So again, what I've read about it and what I know about Miss Pac-Man it's an unofficial sequel to Pac-Man. I mean, it was called Crazy Auto, and it was a kit for the Pac-Man that was going to be sent to vendors. So apparently what happened was Midway bought the rights to Crazy Auto upon waiting for Namco to create their sequel, their official sequel to Pac-Man, which was Super Pac-Man. So they got restless and just sent it out, and because Namco was taking too long, changed the sprites and pretty much named it Miss Pac-Man and put it in the arcade machines. And the irony about the whole thing, it arguably, and it is, became the most successful American-produced arcade machine of all time, selling 115,000 arcade cabinets, which is outrageous. And they were I was reading some reviews and talking to some people about it, saying that if they were to do the math, how much money the game's made till date, I think it was 1.8 billion in quarters or something like that. It was just outrageous, the popularity of this. So you have to give it props. Yes, it's simplistic. Yes, it works. But I mean, man, it's definitely one that I guess sparked a huge interest in the game. So let's get back to the game. So the game we all know, and next video I'm going to be doing my actual, the 2 videos from now I'm going to be doing my gameplay. So I'm going to be trying my best, and I'm not definitely the best at this at all. I'm going to be giving my shot at the gameplay. So this equals, so there's 4 mazes, of course, in this Miss Pac-Man. It tells a story. It's interesting. It's cool. It tells it every time you beat, every 2 or 3 levels. It shows a cutscene, and it shows a story. The first one, Miss Pac-Man and when Pac-Man meets. The second one is when Miss Pac-Man and Pac-Man chase each other and fall in love. And then the third one is they have a kid, which is then baby Pac-Man. So I've always found that to be kind of charming and kind of cool early on, storytelling, which is simple, but told about that. And then in the game, of course, it has moving fruits, as apparently the first Pac-Man just had static fruits. They just stayed in the middle of the screen. These ones move around. And of course, in succession, they're cherry, strawberry, peach, pretzel, apple, pear, and banana. and then thereafter you get after the levels after the bin end and become randomizers. I mean, about the game itself, that's pretty much it. I mean, you guys know about the game. Oh, you know what's interesting? I was talking to the vendor a few months back about my collection, because I emailed him a couple of cabinets that I wanted, and he's like, hey, are you still collecting? I'm like, yeah. And I'm telling him, you know, what's hot right now, what's popular, and he's telling me that the 90s games are becoming popular, more popular than the 80s games right now because of the demographic, because anyone that was born in the 80s now kind of has, you know, disposable income, they're buying homes, they're having families, so they want to make it kind of their own, like how people born in, just say not to say they don't buy them in the 80s as well, but in the 70s, they grew up with Pac-Man and they want that. So it's almost taken a generational gap. And he was telling me that the 90s games right now is popular. The X-Men, the Turtles, definitely the Turtles, the Simpsons, you know, the four player, the bigger cabinets, those are getting more popular. The Street Fighters are coming up. You know, that's why I was getting the Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct. So he was telling me, do you still have the Pac-Man I sold you? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, you know what? It's actually becoming very more popular. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, yes, you know, the 80s games will always be popular. It's the golden age or the era, the classic era. But there's kind of like an undiscovered demographic, and that's females. And females in their 40s and even 50s. And I'm like, really? Is it just because they, you know, respect the game and they're trying to kind of live their childhood? And they said, no, it's kind of unrelated. A lot of it was the color scheme. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And they were saying, well, if you think about it, the color scheme of Miss Pac-Man, obviously it's a female protagonist, the first one, whether they know or not. But the cabinet, and again, you've seen this before, the cabinet is heavily inspired with pink. So a lot of, because of the whole, you know, woman empowerment and coming against cancer, it's a huge driver to women. It's a very interesting thing. It's a big driver in sales that have with women that have cancer and know someone that have cancer, breast cancer. And I guess because the whole empowerment of, you know, taking control of your life and being a male-female role, and the whole pink theme. Now mine has pink T-molding. The original had black or yellow as far as I know. But mine is a pink T-molding that came with it, and I kind of think it looks cool and it fits it well. Yeah, apparently it's becoming really big with women that have or know someone or survived breast cancer as almost a trophy to say that, you know, I'm empowered in this. Find it very remarkable that, you know, a game back in the 80s that wasn't really even a real game, that was kind of just converted as an accident, became not only the best-selling arcade machine of all time and possibly the best, well, I don't know about this, but, you know, moneymaker, and just an icon in the industry. I just find it remarkable that this game sold the most and it wasn't even supposed to be a real game. So again, this won't be too long of a video. Again, more of a game review. I know it was a little shorter, but a couple of facts that I found about it, some, you know, interesting tidbits and the history about it. But that's pretty much Miss Pac-Man and this game review. Just because, again, it's just so well known. Like, what more are you gonna say? You eat dots, you eat the power pellets, whatever. You eat the ghosts, and that's that. The gameplay, again, video will be not the next video, the one after, number 5. The next video is going to be my memories of this game, which is part 4, and then part 5 will be the actual gameplay. And I go into the memories about what I have of this game and how this kind of sparked me liking over all video games, believe it or not. And I'm going to get into that next video. But again, very short video. Me rambling as I always do, and just again, just interesting facts about it. And again, a shout out to Arcade Repair Tips that helped me with the degaussing. But other than that, all the best, guys. Thanks again for checking in my top tier channel, and that's pretty much it. All the best. Thanks again, and we'll see you next video. Take it easy. Peace.